Hey guys, Blade the Striker here. Today I will be telling you guys the main objective of an ADC and how you can carry yourself from any elo as the AD carry role. It's still the beginning of the new season, and that means a new start for your rankings. Before we start, I just want to state that this is not a guide to ADC. However, I will be telling you things that you can do as an AD carry to make games completely winnable in any situation, and it's even possible to win a 4v5 as ADC if you can play smart. If you do want to see an in-depth guide on how to ADC in all stages of the game, then leave a comment down below and I'll gladly create a video helping you guys with the ADC in a more in-depth level. As an ADC, your main objective is to get as much gold as possible. ADCs are very item-dependent champions, and you'll be quite useless without a few items. That is why there's support in the bottom lane. The ADCs are so weak early on that they need literal support to make sure that they can get ramped up to that late stage monster. This is often why you hear ADCs such as Urgot are not good in the late game, because since most ADCs have such a weak early game, they need to pay off for it in the late game. If an ADC isn't good in the late game, then they are almost completely useless throughout the game. Urgot was an example, however there are many other reasons that Urgot's dirt tier. So how do you get all the gold you need to get big? Farm. I'm sure you've heard it 1,000 times, but gold is the thing that makes this game go around. Before I go on, I want to say that killing enemy champions does give you gold, sure. However, you should never rely on killing the enemy champions for gold. Minions are a consistent way to continuously get gold for your items, and even though it does take around 40 to 50 minions just to get a BF sword, it'll be completely worth it in the end. Farming is the thing that you should almost always prioritize. Your main goal in the end is to get as many items as you can early as possible. Farm is the best way to do that, and kills come second. Now, I have told you the main things you can do for yourself, but there are things you can do to also give yourself a lead over the enemy ADC. Denying them farm is one of the best ways to increase the gold gap between you and your enemy laner. If you can farm well and deny the enemy farm, you'll be insanely fed compared to the enemy ADC, even if you aren't necessarily fed off of kills or minions. Another thing you need to keep in mind is not only do you want to get as many items as possible, but you want to make sure you're as ahead of your enemy laner as you can possibly be. An example of this is playing Caitlyn. The reason she's renowned as such a great ADC to start with is because you can farm from an extremely safe distance and harass the enemy laners. Both the points I mentioned, farming and denying farm, are both huge parts of Caitlyn's kit. As an added bonus, she also has an escape with her net to make sure you don't die and lose more farm. So if Caitlyn can do all these fantastic things, why is she not played and banned every game? Well, remember how I was saying ADC shine in the late game? Well, Caitlyn definitely shines in the early game laning phase, but late game she starts to become less overwhelming. That does not mean she's useless by any means, as she has great siege with her range and poke with her Q and R, but other than that, she has her auto attacks. If you look at Jinx, her late game is an AoE auto attack with range enhancer, instant CC with her traps, which are better than Caitlyn's traps, and great teamfight potential with her reset passive. Not to mention her AoE Execute ultimate, she's built to be a late game monster ADC, and has everything an ADC wants except early game mobility, as you don't have an ability to get away from ganks. That is why Jinx is normally played more than Caitlyn, because she brings so much more to the table. What does all this have to do with carrying the game? Well, I told you about these two champions as examples for the type of ADC you want to play. You can literally play any champion in the game, and yes, even Urgot, as ridiculous as I may sound, and carry. Now, don't get me wrong, you need to practice a ridiculous amount on Urgot, but I guarantee you that it is possible to carry with any champion. Overall, the two things you need to keep in mind is that you need to get as much farm as possible, and try to deny your enemy laner from farm. I know that I did not go in-depth too much into how to farm and deny farm, because that'd create one huge video that'd be too long to watch and just get boring. If you want, I can create guides on how to do these two things, and not just for ADC, but for every role. Leave a comment letting me know if you'd like to see guides for these key ingredients to a successful game. Also remember that champions have their own power spikes. For example, Caitlyn is early game oriented, while Jinx is late game oriented. It's all on personal preference on what ADCs you like, and besides from Urgot, you can be relevant in almost every late game situation as an ADC, as long as you've kept up in gold compared to your enemy laner. Thank you so much for watching, and if you enjoyed the video, give a video a thumbs up and leave a comment saying what kind of videos you'd like to see from me. Let it be for more tips and tricks for each individual role, champion, or general tips to climbing. That's it for this video. I really hope you guys learned something, and remember to get yourself as much gold as possible, because gold is the #1 thing to solo carry in games. Again, thanks for watching, and until next video, peace.
Yeah, this Draven's actually... This guy's practiced Draven. Oh, nice job. Beauty.
Nice.
Oh,
Good job, boys.
That was actually all Ben. Good job, Ben.
You too.
That was